Hello everyone, my name is Frey, otherwise known as Armed Gunman from the Ksenia video. I'll be poking my head in here every once in a while when Dorito is set to make a video focused on melee characters. While I'm certainly no expert when it comes to firearms, I leave much of that to him, my focus is on martial weapons of all kinds. For this reason, Dorito reached out to me to give some insight into what I believe are some of the inspirations behind Krolik's signature weapon, hair. Originally this was scrapped, but people in the Discord, you should totally join by the way, begged for it, so here we are. Now, before I begin, we should get one thing out of the way. Krolik is a robot bunny girl with a Super Sentai sword. I have expected her to hold it to her lips and start playing it like the Green Ranger. Because of this, I will absolutely be taking some liberties here, as I don't think I need to be the one to tell you that the Russians never used straight-blade cyber machetes at any point in their military history. While it would be easy to write off Krolik's weapon as just that, there's a notable shape at the base of the handle of hair that we can draw some attention to. Though I wouldn't consider this a pommel, it absolutely has some similarities to the real-world equivalent pommel of a Russian blade known as a shashka. Now, if we were to assign the real-world equivalent to Krolik's weapon, I'd be willing to go out on a limb and say that Krolik being Russian in origin aligns most closely with this weapon. I can't say for certain that this was the intended design plan the devs are going with. The actual blade is much more in line with the Chinese Songhan Dao, go figure. It's certainly notable enough and more in line with her origins that I can go into the history of the Shashka and hope that the GFL2 devs look kindly upon me. So let's get into it. The Shashka, otherwise known as the Long Knife, how original, was originally from the Caucasus region. Early accounts of the weapon being documented in the 12th and 13th centuries being found amongst the Circassian people and were often seen by the Cossack people through their either trade or conflict. It inevitably became a massive point of pride for the Cossacks, and became a symbol of both their martial prowess and, to some, a symbol of freedom. However, the blade slowly blended into the Russian Imperial Army between 1817 to 1864 during the conquest of the Caucasus, and the Russians liked them far more than their own sabers. While this is hilarious, it actually became so beloved by Russian troops that in the 19th century, it was formally adopted into the Russian military as their standard-issued cavalry saber, seeing use in both the First and the Second World Wars, making this the bladed equivalent to the M1911. The blade was so beloved that it was only removed from service when the Soviet Union disbanded. However, some Shashka were still being produced until the mid-20th century, and the M1927 model being the last widely issued version. While no longer being in military service for obvious reasons, the Shashka still holds significant cultural value and is still considered a notable symbol in Cossack heritage, which in itself is a rich and storied warrior culture. Some still practice the art of flankrovka, I probably butchered that, otherwise known as the art of spinning, which is a martial art and dance centered around the Shashka specifically. Overall, what I've been able to gather is this is the closest weapon we can assign for Krolik at the time, in keeping with the general design of hair and what would make the most sense for her character to wield. I'll be the first to admit that this is a bit of a stretch. I hope that in the future the dev team will lean more into the historical elements of the weapons they give their melee characters, as there are plenty I'd love to see integrated into the game with this new archetype of characters. If you're interested in seeing more about Krolik and the other girls from GFL2, click the link in the description to see Dorito's entire breakdown of her kit.